On today's primetime local news, the Saskatchewan Premier sounds off on the carbon tax and its impact on Saskatchewan farmers, calling the tax the worst way to reduce emissions. A local businesswoman shares her personal story about her son and why she's donating a month's worth of revenue to residents in recovery. And local students are participating in a national initiative to collect 20,000 socks to give to shelters across Canada.
Prime time local news, serving the Lakeland and Midwest regions.
A few weeks ago, the Alberta Infrastructure Minister Prasad Panda made a stop in the border city to check out the Dr. Cook Extended Care Centre. It was then announced the demolition of the south wing of the centre would take place in early spring. Over the course of the past few years, members of the Concerned Citizens Society have been fighting against the demolition.
When we heard that they wanted to demolish the south wing at Dr. Cook, we wanted that wing repurposed because we could see so many needs in the community that could be alleviated with the repurposing there. But the government of the day was quite adamant that we were standing in the way of progress.
A new rehabilitation unit will be built which will be adding more services, but the Society wants to see more long-term beds at the facility.
The other thing that concerns me is there's no plans for long-term beds. There's nothing on the drawing board currently. And we know that from the time plans are started until people can move into a facility is oftentimes 15 years. And we also know that my generation, the boomer generation, we are coming into the term in our life where we are going to need long-term care.
Trudell also mentioned the Society hopes their voices will be heard when future changes arise. Business owners got together last night to see the grand opening of the new location for Startup Lloydminster. They moved next to Community Futures, who is one of Startup Lloydminster's partners, from their old space at the Community Service Building. They invited people to see the new space and also hope people learn more about what they do.
We believe in that open office concept, the sharing of ideas, and as I said before, we're right next to one of our partners, Community Futures, and so we just think it's a really good partnership, lots of collaboration, and lots of great ideas come out of here.
Startup Lloydminster helps with new businesses in the community and existing businesses that wish to expand. By providing a wide variety of services, they believe this new location is a perfect spot and shows how much the company has evolved.
When you go to start on your own, you need to look for resources, and this is a place that those resources are available. We've got Community Futures right next door. They can help you with other items that startup may not, and they connect you with people to connect all around the community, the finance industry, and business, and I think that's just tremendous.
The new space is located right off Highway 17 on 40th Street and 50th Avenue. Students at LCHS are participating in a national campaign to help raise 20,000 socks for shelters across the country. The student leadership team are collecting donations from the student body today and tomorrow. The socks will be donated to the men's shelter, the Olive Tree, and the Interval Home. The grade 11 leadership students chose to collect socks after touring local charities and seeing a video of sock campaigns in other cities.
We did tours of the Olive Tree, the soup kitchen, the Interval store, and so going there and seeing, people who are in need of different things, it was really an eye-opening experience for us. I've done a little bit of volunteering in the past, and even like seeing kids that are walking around in torn up sneakers with no socks on, or kids that don't have proper winter material. So this is a nice chance for us to give back.
Socks are often the first thing people ask for when they come into a shelter. The students are hoping this event also raises awareness of the need in the community.
So a bunch of schools all around, I think Canada and even worldwide, are doing this. Socks are really a basic thing, and not a lot of people have them, so it's nice to see different people from different communities are coming together, reaching one simple goal of getting everyone in the world a pair of socks that needs them.
A local businesswoman and mother decided that giving back to her community and people in need is the best way to honor the tragic loss of her son. Last week she shared her story with us, and Montana Getty has more.
Owner of Art of Flowers, Kelly Lynn Joy, explained the struggles her son, Tom Joy, dealt with regarding addiction.
Tom was depressed the last 4 years of his life, and he turned to addiction, and it turned him into somebody that he wasn't.
Kelly eventually tragically lost her son to drug addiction and suicide last year.
And I was really excited when he went into rehab in October, which he passed 4 months almost to the day. Is when he took his own life, and he just couldn't get past his addiction.
She didn't know that there were services such as Residents in Recovery that her son could have used.
If Tom was still here, he could still be here. I'm thinking if, Residents in Recovery was around at the time that he was having so many issues.
Residents in Recovery is a supportive, sober living community located in Lloydminster for anyone recovering from addiction.
When he got out of his 7-day detox at a Slim Thorpe, it was like there was nothing there to do the sober living, which is what, Residents in Recovery is. So when you come back out and you still have all the same triggers and nothing's changed, then you go right back into what, you were doing before. And that.
After hearing that Residents in Recovery was in need of donations to avoid closure, Joy decided to donate approximately $2,000 of the February profits from her flower shop on the anniversary of Tom's death to Residents in Recovery owner Tyler Lorenz. Her hope is to help other families avoid what her family and her son went through.
Whatever we can do as a community to help him, we should be doing to help the most vulnerable. Same thing with the men's shelter, same thing with the food bank. Give to those that need it the most.
Having Kelly step up and see the importance of a program such as Residents in Recovery is great, because she's lived through it firsthand and sees the need for this in our community.
Kelly doesn't just want to help people who are in need. She is also wanting to help the families of people who have lost someone like she has.
I did set up a foundation in his name, Thomas A. Joy Mental Health Project is what it's called, and I will be hopefully setting up something for survivors of suicide, like the family members that are left behind, because some people can't get through it.
Although Kelly wishes things were different, she still looks on the bright side.
He just wanted pain to end, and that's all he wanted. So, at least now, I pray every day that he knows peace, love, and happiness, and that's all I can do, right? Absolutely. So, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Montana Getty, Primetime Local News.
The Dr. James Hemstock and Hearthstone Place provides seniors living with engaging activity. Eric Bay has more in this week's BioClean Business Bio.
Making sure people are cared for while giving their tenants opportunities to continue to enjoy themselves is what the Hemstock strives to accomplish with its life enrichment programs.
We have a life enrichment manager who organizes different programs for our seniors to participate in. So everything from bingo to outings to we have a Fit Minds program that we offer, just helping keep them spry.
The Hemstock also ensures constant care with staff working 24 hours a day to help with any need.
We have care aides in our building 24 hours a day, which is huge. So if you're needing help any time of the day, there is somebody in our building. So you have that 24-hour emergency care, needing some help in the middle of the night or anytime. They also offer wellness clinics, so you can come down, get your blood pressure, blood sugar, weight, just a general check-in with the nursing staff, which is really helpful.
There are multiple different room sizes available with different options to suit anyone's care needs.
Depending where your needs are, you can definitely move into the independent side. It's a full apartment, so you're moving in, having as much or as little to do with us as you want, essentially. On the assisted side, there's 1 2-bedroom and studio options. So when people move in there, they have their meals included in all their rent. So they would come down for all their meals. It's just a little bit more assistance.
Anyone looking to find out more about the Hemstock and Hearthstone Place can find it at their website. And that's this week's BioClean Business Bio.
Homes are for everyone. Your home is your sanctuary, your oasis, your safe place. Let our family take care of yours while you get back to your life.
Now to our Abby St. John with the weather.
Thanks, Jasmine. It's currently 1 here in Lloydminster. A little bit of cloud coverage, but it is still fairly nice and clear, which we've been experiencing for the past couple of days, which has been very nice to see. Winds coming out of the west at 19 kilometers per hour. And then your current temperatures in Alberta, 5 out in Cold Lake and Jasper, 6 in Athabasca and Edmonton, 8 in Rocky Mountain House, 3 in Red Deer, 7 in Edson and out in Whitecourt. And on the Saskatchewan side, 1 in Meadow Lake, -3 in Prince Albert and Melfort, -2 in Saskatoon, and +2 out in North Battleford. And then overnight in North Battleford, the temperature will drop to -8 and just a little bit of cloud coverage overnight. The wind will remain at 9 kilometers per hour coming in from the west-southwest and then pick up to 11 kilometers per hour tomorrow with a daytime high of +3 and a mix of sun and cloud. And then in Cold Lake overnight, the temperature will drop to -4 and that wind will be coming out of the west-southwest at 9 kilometers per hour and a fairly cloudy night. Tomorrow there's a daytime high of +4 with partially cloudy skies and about a 60% chance of some snow that could turn into freezing rain. Winds coming out of the west at 17 kilometers per hour. Here in Lloydminster overnight, we'll get a little bit more heavier cloud coverage, temperature dropping to -4, and that wind will be at 13 kilometers per hour coming in from the west-southwest, and then pick up to 17 kilometers per hour tomorrow, coming in from the west with a daytime high of +3 and a mix of sun and cloud. Over the next 3 days for tomorrow, that +3 will feel closer to -12 with that wind chill with a low of -4 and a mix of sun and cloud. And then on Saturday, there's a 72% chance of some snow with a high of -1, which will feel closer to -23 and a low of -6. And then on Sunday, a partially cloudy skies with a high of -8 and a low of -15. With that wind chill, that -8 will feel closer to -17. That is a look at your 3-day forecast. We'll have more news coming up after the break.
Welcome back. Saskatchewan Premier Scott Moe has sounded off on the carbon tax and its impact on Saskatchewan farmers, calling the tax the worst way to reduce emissions. Eric Bay has more in this week's Ag Report.
Farmers' grain dryer costs were elevated this year, with a poor harvest adding to higher costs from the carbon tax. Farmers have been made exempt from the tax in some areas, but it's not enough for Premier Scott Moe.
We've asked the federal government, that we've actually asked that they remove the carbon tax from all of the agriculture sector, as they said they would at the outset. They removed it from the fuel that is being burnt and being utilized in our actual equipment. They have not removed it from the fertilizer that's being produced. They have not removed it from the transportation sector that's moving our products to coast, and they most certainly have not removed that tax from the grain drying costs that we have.
Moe pointed to the decision made in Alberta, calling the carbon tax unconstitutional as proof that the carbon tax should be lifted.
When it comes to the carbon tax, there's no more ineffective way than to try to reduce emissions. And I will speak to the province of Saskatchewan, but I'm sure the province to the west of us, Premier Kenney, will agree very quickly. There's no more ineffective way to reduce carbon emissions if you understand that climate change is a global challenge.
Moe wants to see the tax removed until the Supreme Court of Canada makes its ruling on the issue.
If this was actually constitutionally viable for the federal government to move into this area, it would stand every court challenge in every province every time. It hasn't done that. This tax needs to be removed, not just because it's ineffective, not just because it causes investment to leave this nation. It needs to be removed because it actually is unconstitutional.
A recent report from the Agricultural Producers Association of Saskatchewan predicts farmers will lose 12% of their income to the carbon tax by 2022. Eric Bay, Primetime Local News.
This Ag Report is brought to you by the Lloydminster Co-op Agro Centre. Depend on them for product, tools, and expert advice. Shop at your local Lloyd Co-op Agro Centre with branch locations in Lashburn and Neilburg.
Now let's take a look at your egg prices.
We're a part of less than 5% of Canadian auto body shops and Lloydminster's only locations with certified collision care recognition at City Centre Auto Body.
The 2019-2020 Bobcats season is now officially in the books. Last night was Pink the Rink night as the Cats hosted the Olds Grizzlies for the final game of the season. Even before puck drop, the rink was full of excitement. Fans got into the game for free, and the first 200 got free pepperoni. Pink the Rink and Kindness Wins night got everyone excited, even head coach Nigel Dubé.
My 4-year-old niece, Andy, I got to give her all the credit. She went to the mall, she picked it on her own. Right? Look good, feel good, play good. And when you can get the tie on the first time, especially as crisp as this top knot is right now, it just felt good.
In one of the most exciting games of the year, the Bobcats walked away from the game and the season with a 5-3 win.
Oh, it's great. I mean, we had a packed house tonight. Free entry, so it's nice to show the fans and the people of Lloydminster that we're getting some solid building blocks for next year.
The win also concluded the Bobcats' best statistical month of the year. In February, the team went 4-4-2.
I think it kind of puts an exclamation point on the month too. It shows about how far we came in the year and where we got to at this point.
And I think this last month really showed that we're a great team and a lot of good guys in there. And when you become a family, that's when the wins start coming.
In Adrian's last game, he recorded 1 assist and was named player of the game.
It's awesome. Like I told the boys a lot of times through the last couple of weeks that it flies by. It just feels like yesterday I came to this rink, coming here for the first practice, and then playing the last game, getting a win. Like, no better way to finish, really.
The night was finally capped off with autographs from all the players. The team's spring camp will be in April. Evan Kenny, Primetime Local Sports. The Lakeland Rustlers volleyball teams had another decorative night at the ACAC Championship Awards Banquet Wednesday, with 3 athletes and 1 coach recognized for their success this season. Josh Ryan has more on the accolades and the focus of both squads as they prepare for round 1 this evening.
After breaking multiple Lakeland records in her ACAC debut, left side Janae Varga was named North Division Rookie of the Year, while also earning all-conference honors.
She's pretty fun to watch, and then obviously all the stats completely back up the season that she's had, so pretty proud of what she did this year.
On the men's side, libero Giancarlo Funes was named an All-Star for the 2nd time, while captain Matt Peck received his first league honor. Coach Taylor Dyer was happy to see opposing coaches recognize the pair's backcourt brilliance.
They've been able to recognize just how strong athletes both those guys are. And anytime you have some players that get recognized for their efforts and the hard work they put in, I think it's always a nice little bonus to the week and to the weekend and going into conference championships. So I hope those guys are pretty happy and proud of themselves as well.
Austin Dyer was also recognized as a co-winner of North Division Women's Coach of the Year, managing a new starting lineup after losing 3 All-Stars.
It's always nice to be recognized by your peers, and well, obviously we had a lot of turnover and we're unsure what the season was going to look like, but we were able to turn it into a pretty good one, and so hopefully now we can make some noise tonight.
Heading into their matchup against the Red Deer Queens, the Rustlers are focused on their strengths.
See if we can trap them into playing our style, which should allow for us to have some success. Yeah, the team's just excited to get to the game and take in the championship experience.
And while the men are massive underdogs against the host Kodiaks, they don't show any signs of being afraid of the moment.
As long as we can play consistent and play our kind of brand of volleyball, we're going to get anybody fits. And so anything can happen in a one-game playoff, and I think it's going to be a great experience for those older guys who worked so hard to get there.
Josh Ryan, Primetime Local Sports.
Both quarterfinal matches get underway at 8 p.m. on ACAC TV. Now we'll go to our Abby St. John, who's got the weather.
Thanks, Evan. Taking a look at our satellite radar, a little bit of cloud coverage making its way more east towards Lloydminster. We'll get a little bit heavier cloud coverage closer to more overnight tonight. Cold Lake, there's about a 60% chance of some snowfall tomorrow, possibly turning into freezing rain to watch out for. On the Saskatchewan side, not as much activity, a little bit of activity in the snow in North Battleford, Meadow Lake, and St. Walburg. However, tomorrow should be a nice, fairly clear day for that region, a little lighter on the cloud coverage as well. Current temperatures in Saskatchewan, 1 in Lloydminster here, as well as in Meadow Lake, -1 up in Isle La Crosse, 3 in Green Lake, St. Walburg and Macklin, 2 in Maidstone and North Battleford, and 4 out in Pearceland. And on the Alberta side, 5 in Cold Lake, Bonnyville, 4 in Vermilion, St. Paul, Lac La Biche, 6 out in Edmonton, 2 in Marwayne, Vegreville, and out in Provost. And tomorrow, 3 here in Lloydminster, as well as in Marwayne, Vermilion, Vegreville, Edmonton, St. Paul, and Provost, 2 in Wainwright, 4 in Bonnyville and Cold Lake, and 5 up in Lac La Biche. And on the Saskatchewan side, 3 in Maidstone, North Battleford, and in St. Walburg, 4 in Pearceland and Meadow Lake, 5 in Isle La Crosse, Green Lake, and out in Macklin. And overnight across the region, there could be some snowfall in Isle La Crosse tonight. Light cloud coverage in Murnum and Pearceland, and then heavier clouds in Meadow Lake, Bonnyville, Paradise Hill, Unity, Wainwright, and Provost. -4 in Meadow Lake, Pearceland, and Provost and Wainwright. -6 in Isle La Crosse and Paradise Hill. -3 in Bonnyville and Murnum, and -8 out in Unity. Your school day forecast for tomorrow at 8 a.m. it'll be around -1 with a mix of sun and cloud, and then at recess time it'll warm up to +1 with that same mix of sun and cloud, and then at lunchtime it should be around +2 with that same mix of sun and cloud, and then by the time school is out it will remain +2, but it should be a nice clear skies with a low of -4. And then on Saturday, to start your weekend off, there's a 72% chance of some snow with a high of -1 and a low of -6. On Sunday, a partially cloudy day with a high of -8 and a low of -15. To start your week off on Monday, a mix of sun and cloud with a high of +3 and a low of -11. On Tuesday, a mix of sun and cloud with a high of -3 and a low of -9. On Wednesday, it'll be a high of -2 and a low of -11 with a mix of sun and cloud as well. And then on Thursday, a little bit more sun than we will see previously with a high of -2 and a low of -8. That is a look at your 7-day forecast. We'll have more news in the question of the day coming up after the break.
Our question of the day today has to do with a Bill 2 that may be passed further on in the future, allowing some park owners to allow drinking at their parks, and we got a lot of different opinions on this question.
Yeah, it was definitely a split vote, I guess, with some people saying, yeah, that would be fun to, on Canada Day, or, if you have a picnic or you're camping and on the beaches, it would be nice to be able to have like a couple drinks here and there casually. And then other people did bring up the point of, what if it gets out of hand? Parks are meant for children to run and play, and so if it gets a little bit too dangerous with the drinking, that could cause some issues and maybe deter kids away from wanting to go out into the park if it's a little bit more dangerous.
And that is a really good point from those people, because you never know what can really happen. And with that, what do you really think about that, Evan?
Well, I kind of think of it almost like smoking, I guess, where, there's specific spots where people can smoke. Maybe it's the same with alcohol, where, you can have it in certain spots but not in others. So then those parents that are looking out for their kids are still, they can ease their mind, but people are still able to drink in parks.
Yeah, and I think it'll also depend, like we both said, if it gets out of hand, it's definitely the part where people will be a little bit more, they won't really want that to happen. So yeah, it really does depend on the park and how it will happen. But now we are going to be taking a look at your pet pictures. So thank you to everyone who submitted the pictures, and we will be giving away a Pet Pad gift card tomorrow.
We want to see your pets. Send photos of your pet and their name to our Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram to have them featured on Pet of the Day. Your name will be entered into a weekly draw for a gift certificate from the Pet Pad.
We're joined today on Primetime Local News. A familiar face on their show now, Corey Turco. And Corey, you are joining us from sunny California today. Thanks for taking the time to talk to us.
It's my pleasure, of course. I'm going to have to start collecting a salary there with you guys.
Well, we'll work on it. We'll see what we can do. Now, Corey, even though you're in California, you are from Moose Jaw originally, and you and your side project, Took, are going to be back for what is a long-time Saskatchewan tradition, March 7th and 8th, Telemiracle. How did this all play out, and are you guys excited to come back and be on that Telemiracle stage?
Oh, yeah. When our manager first asked us if we wanted to go on Telemiracle, I'm like, yeah, let's do it. Because as a kid, I used to, first of all, I used to watch it, and then when I turned like 9, I think it was 1979, I actually played on Telemiracle with my family band. So it's going to be great to go back and revisit that sort of stage. And I think we're actually going to be hosting on it as well. So that'll be really fun. Ring those phones, all that kind of stuff.
Have your bandmates in Took had a chance to be on Telemiracle, or do they know what it's all about, or did you have to kind of go through and explain a little bit about the cause and what it does?
Todd knew about it because Todd actually played on it as well with his band, the Infants, back in the 80s sometime. But the other two guys, one's from Alberta, one's from Manitoba, they don't know it as much, but they understand the whole telethon thing, and so they're excited about it as well.
And I guess the one thing about Telemiracle too, Corey, is that it helps so many people. Obviously, that's the main cause, but it's also, there are so many people that either watch it in person or on the actual televised telethon, that it's a great place to showcase Saskatchewan talent as well.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I can't wait. And because I watched it for so many years, and I tried to stay up all night, and I would donate because it does go to the Kinsman Foundation. So it's a tradition for all the right reasons.
And now, outside of Telemiracle, Corey, you have a few other projects going on. Of course, you're playing with Shania for her residency in Las Vegas. When does that start up again, the second part here, and how long does that go?
I think we go back to Vegas. Our first show is the 11th or 12th of March, I think. So I'll be back there right after I finish Telemiracle. I'll come home, pack my stuff, and go straight to Vegas after that.
And how is that going? It must be quite amazing to be part of a show, and also kind of nice where you could actually do a show and you're in the same location. Or do you prefer to be touring all around if that's an option?
You know what? There's pros and cons. The pros of playing in Vegas all the time, you get to be home quite a bit because I live in LA, so it's like a 5-hour drive or a 45-minute flight. So that's always great. But, being on the road is kind of fun, too, because you get to see, far off places. When we go to Australia or Europe, it's always fun. But then you have to be away from your loved ones. So it's this.
And you've also had a couple of chances now to play with Kelly Clarkson, the band, her band on her talk show. Just, I guess, whenever she needs you. How does that work? Does her management just call you up because you've played with them before and say, hey, can you be here for this show? Or how does that actually work?
Yeah, I played with her for about 12 years in between Shania tours. And so, yeah, I'm really good friends with the whole band. And, of course, the music director is one of my best friends. So he called me up and he asked, hey, we're going to do Hopelessly Devoted to You. And because he knows me so well, he knows that I just love Grease and Olivia Newton-John, everything to do with Olivia Newton-John. So it was like a total, I was a total fanboy playing that song. And then, of course, I played a Shania song with Kelly. Can't even think of the name of the song. I've played it a million times. But when I get to do that with Kelly, I mean, every time she opens her mouth, it's like she's singing a record, and I'm just privileged every time I get to be on the stage with her.
Does it still seem surreal to you, Corey, after all these years? I mean, you played with Slash, you filled in there for a bit. You obviously play with Shania and Kelly still on a regular basis. Thinking back to, the teenage Corey, did you ever think that dreams like this would happen for you?
You know what? Coming from a small town in Moose Jaw, everything that happens on TV seems like so far away. So I always knew I wanted to be a musician. fame or anything or money came after that, that was always just an icing on the cake. Yeah, it's really unbelievable to think that I'm living in LA now. I've been here for almost 20 years, which is longer than I've lived anywhere else in my life. You know, but always be a hometown boy, Moose Jaw boy. Canada's always in my heart for sure.
Well, Corey, we want to thank you for talking to us today. I know that you have a very busy schedule, and once again, just a reminder that you and the boys from Tuke Telemiracle, March 7th and 8th. Ring those phones, I guess, is the line you're going to be saying a lot.
Ring those phones. Ring those phones.
Thanks so much, Corey, and we're looking forward to seeing you on television, and some of us will be there live as well to actually see Telemiracle and follow what you're doing as you go forward with Tuke and with your other shows. So thank you so much, and again, we look forward to having you back in Saskatchewan.
Thank you, Stacy. Take care.
Furniture set and design supplied by Furniture Gallery and Furniture House, downtown Lloydminster.
We're happy to have Ryan Armstrong and Stephanie Dobson back with us. Thank you guys for joining us. You're becoming regulars on the show, and we really do appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Stephanie, we're going to start with you this time. We're always talking about the legal clinic and also about the information night. So we're going to talk about March. Let's talk about, first of all, what's planned for March.
So upcoming in March, on the third Thursday of March, which is March 19th, we have our legal advice clinic. So that's one-on-one legal advice, an appointment with a private lawyer. And that one is by appointment only.
Okay.
So you have to call in. The phone number to call in is area code 587-789-0727, and that's a local number for both Alberta and Saskatchewan residents.
And one thing that we talked about is you encouraging people to call well in advance, because there are some things that have to be checked out. You can't just really call the day before and hope that you're going to get in. So how far in advance can people start calling for this if they like?
So people can book in any of our legal advice clinics for all of 2020. We've got all of the dates planned. They're always the third Thursday of the month. And the thing is, the lawyers, we have usually about 2 or 3 lawyers who volunteer in each of our clinics. And if we know ahead of time that there's a bigger demand, then we can just scout more lawyers to come and help us. So the more advance notice that we have, the more likely it is that you'll be able to get in.
And when they call, what are some of the things and some information that they should have available for the person they're speaking to on the phone?
Well, the intake worker will ask a bit about their situation, so the kind of law that they are dealing with, and then a bit about the actual problem that they're experiencing. And they'll ask names, probably birthdays, that kind of thing. But the key is the income guideline, and so they'll be asked quite a few questions about what their income is, and the idea of these clinics, because they're free, it's to serve a certain population. It's typically for the population that makes too much money for legal aid, so it's beyond the legal aid cutoff, but they still aren't making enough to be able to afford a privately retained lawyer.
Okay, and at these clinics, is the subjects, is it wide open basically? They can ask about anything?
So the idea is it has to be planned in advance to make sure that the type of problem that they have, that we do have a lawyer that can provide that kind of advice. Typically it's around family law, criminal law, landlord-tenant, employment-related issues, but that's not a limit. That's just the similar kind of, the typical kind of things that we see at our clinic.
Okay, and then for April, Ryan, I'm going to go to you for this one. This is actually kind of a nice thing to have, because it's basically open to everybody and it's just an information night. So what's planned for April?
Yeah, so again, it's the third Thursday. It's April 16th, and it's landlord-tenant issues. So generally to be residential landlord-tenant, of course it could be commercial. You don't have to phone and register in advance. We encourage you to show up ahead of time, perhaps on time. It'll start right at 5 o'clock that day. And there'll be a lawyer speaking on the issues of landlord-tenant matters. And there'll be an ability to ask some questions, but generally the lawyer's got a presentation set up, and so it's not specifically tailored individually, it's more generic in terms of the questions that are being asked and answered.
Can this also be used for a platform for people if they don't know who to go to for a lawyer, and maybe this is some way that, yeah, we have an issue, we kind of want to feel it out, and then we attend this and can find out who we even contact to get things started?
Yeah, that's a good point. Actually, it would be a good way if someone thought that they had an issue and perhaps were too tentative to call someone or didn't know who they should call around. Local bars usually pretty good that way, but certainly the presenter would be able to point them in the right direction, or at least let them know whether they had an issue. and they could choose whether they want to explore that further or not.
Okay, and we're having a change of venue for this too. You're going to be going to a different location for this event.
Yes, we are. So our first 3 clinics this year, January, February, March, are in the Community Services building. The City Lloyd's decommissioning that building in the middle of this year. And so we are very proud to announce that we are partnered with Lloydminster Public School Division, and we will be having our clinics from April forward at the Lloydminster Public School Division head office.
Okay. And Stephanie, I'll just go back to you. In regards to both the clinic and also to the seminar, why is it so important that, I mean, you guys have busy lives and busy jobs as it is. Why is it still important that you get involved with these community events?
Well, this has been building for about 4 or 5 years now, and the results that we've seen from it, from helping community members, has just been amazing. And especially with the downturn in the economy, it's really important to us to make sure that there are legal services available. We are finding more and more that people aren't able to afford the services, and we want to make sure that we can do our part to give back. And we're thrilled to be sort of organizing, to be the key organizers to it. But at the same time, it's the local bar who's really stepped up to volunteer at all of these events, the clinics, the education seminars, volunteer to present. And so we're thrilled that it's the whole bar really in Lloydminster who's helped us, and surrounding areas as well.
Okay, and just one more time, Stephanie, too, for people who want to call and sign up, and as you said, they can sign up ahead of time. What is that number?
Okay, it's a local number, so it's 587-789-0727.
Okay, well, thank you guys once again for joining me today, and thank you for what you do in the community. I mean, I've talked to a number of people who've made use of this service, and I found it very helpful. So, you know, a lot of people are very appreciative. So, thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Saturday is going to be a busy day, and we're hoping for great weather for the 17th annual Cutter Rally for Cancer. You can spend the day out on the trail and raise funds to help the fight against cancer. A portion of the proceeds will go to Hang in the 30s, and a portion of the proceeds will go to the Lloydminster Region Health Foundation. There's so many different ways you can take part. You can get your team of horses and your sleigh out there on the trail. You can take part on horseback. You can hop on somebody else's sleigh and have a great day on the trail, or you can pre-purchase a ghost hand and still be in for a chance to win the grand prize. And the grand prize, if you win, you get to choose. Maybe you'll take that new cutter, maybe you'll take the harness package, or maybe you'll take the $2,000 cash. But it's going to be a fun day out on the trail, all to help out a great cause. If you want to get your tickets in advance, just stop by the Lloyd X office. There's a number of great shows coming to the Vic Juba Community Theatre soon. Next Thursday night, it's the Snowed In Comedy Tour, so there's going to be a lot of laughter as a part of that show. And this Sunday night, a show with laughter, great stories, and fantastic music when Alan Doyle takes to the stage. He's out on his Rough Side Out tour. That's also the name of his brand new album. On that new album, he's got a song with Dean Brody and a lot of fantastic music. Plus, he used to be a part of Great Big Sea. So great songs, great stories, maybe even a bit of an East Coast kitchen party when Alan Doyle comes to the Vic Juba Community Theatre this Sunday night. If you want to get your tickets, there are still a few available. You can stop by the Vic Juba Community Theatre box office or go online, vicjubatheatre.ca. Mount Joy Snow Resort will be open once again this weekend, and they're hoping you and your family will join them for some fun on the slopes. And this Sunday is Optimist Kids Day, so the first 60 kids will get a free lift pass at Mount Joy Snow Resort. Well, whatever you choose to do this weekend, I hope you have a great one. I'm Heather Klegus, and that's what's happening.
Once again, talking about our question of the day, I think we both all kind of agreed that this new law, if it is passed, this bill, sorry, if it got passed, there is pros and cons for both of it.
And I think that there needs to be a little bit more said about what people can expect when this bill does get passed, or if it gets passed. They are saying it is very likely that it will be passed. So, guidelines, and Evan, you even mentioned off camera that, having those regulations in those designated areas, just like smoking, would be, not bad. Like only adults, like over the age of 18, can be in those areas. So then it eliminates the chance of children, getting influenced or, something bad happening to them. So we just need, I think, a little bit more information on what people can expect and if it will have those regulations.
And I think also for the park owners, it can also depend on them of what type of people they want to attract to their park.
For sure, if they're looking for a younger crowd, then obviously they would, want that kind of to be closed off, not have the alcohol flowing through those parks. But if, it's a little bit of an older crowd, then, kind of go for it and bring more people in.
Yeah, exactly. Now, this will have a lot of trials, and we'll see what will happen if it does get passed. But thank you for joining us for another edition of Primetime Local News. We'll have more news, weather, and sports tomorrow.